So your customers are congregating on Twitter or Reddit or Slack or Discourse or any number of other platforms. Wouldn't it be cool if you could know which of them are your biggest champions and connect with them directly and empower them to share more about your product? Hi, I'm Chris Smith, and in this video, I'll show you how you can use Common Room to look across all of your different community channels and find the users who are most active, they're most engaged. These are the users who are your early champions. And within Common Room, you can create automatic messages to them, you can add them to segments, you can tag them, you can find creative ways to engage with these users early on so they can share the good news about your product and how it helps them with their network. Let's check it out. We'll cover 5 things in this video: connecting your sources, setting the bar for your champions program, creating segments of those champions, how to send automated messages, and then how you can tag and keep track of those users over time. So the first thing we need to do is get some data out of all of these external systems and ingest it into Common Room so that we can start building out our champions program. You can follow along by going to commonroom.io and selecting Get Started for free. The first thing you'll do after setting up an account is choose the sources where your users are engaging. So in this case, I'll set up a Slack integration and grant it privileges so that it can access my own personal Slack account. Next, I'll click through a couple of confirmation dialogues, and Common Room will now start ingesting data from my Slack instance. So next, I'll be able to see all of the user activity that's happening on Slack. And next, I can go to the sources pane and add all of the different sources where my users are interacting with my brand. Now let's jump into a fully built out Common Room instance and see how we can set up criteria for identifying our champions. We can see this instance has Slack, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and a few others connected. Now let's go into the app and go to the members section. Here we can see all of the people that have interacted with our brand across all of those different sources. And clicking into an individual one, we can see that this user's profile is unified across Twitter, GitHub, YouTube, LinkedIn, HubSpot, and Slack. This is pretty awesome. So all of these touch points in one place allows me to have a more unified view of all the different people that are in my community, whether they're prospects or current customers. So I can see, oh, the person that was talking to the salesperson in HubSpot is the same person that left the comment in GitHub and just joined the Slack community. So now I have a much better chance of engaging with them in a way that's personalized. So now that we have this data in, we can start to align on what a champion is for our business and how we could find that in the data that we have across all of these different sources. So for Common Room, this might be users who are most active in Slack, who are active product users, and who have more than 100 impact points in the last 30 days. And impact points is a score that Common Room produces, which is a sort of summary of the activity that that user has engaged in across all of the different touch points, with some weighting factors to determine how much of an impact they're having on your community. And revisiting the members page, we can see that there are lots of different filter options to build our champion criteria off of. So now let's look at how we can create a segment, which we can use to track and message our champion group. To create a segment, go to the left-hand pane, click Segments, and select New Segment. From there, we can give it a name, say Product Champion Segment, and add some statuses so that as we're reaching out to them, we can label each member with their state in the process. So now we have an empty segment, so we need to go back to our members pane and create a filter that matches our champion criteria. So I'm just going to filter by influencers and contributors, which is an automatically created tag in Common Room, and I'll select users who have posted on Slack at least 10 times. So now I've narrowed down my list from 17,000 to just 9 people who I can go and add to my member segment. Now I can go back to my product champion segment anytime I need to and specify what the status is of each of those individuals as they join the champions program. From the segments page, I can select multiple users and message them in bulk by clicking on the three dots and selecting Slack message. Alternatively, I can set up an automated workflow by clicking on workflows on the left-hand side and then selecting the pre-built template for messaging a cohort of users. And here we can see if a member satisfies certain filter criteria, such as being a part of this member segment for product champions, that we will wait for the working hours and then send them a Slack message inviting them to our Champions program. And you can send a test message or preview to make sure your message looks exactly how you want. And now, as your champions start to respond, you can add a status message to your segment for the ones that say yes or no, and update their statuses as you go. And since these are such key members of your community, you can turn on notifications for the entire segment so that anytime their status change or they have activity in your community, you get notified. And lastly, you can set up special reporting dashboards of just your champions member segment so you can keep track of all of your OKRs related to these champions. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope this was helpful for you. You can find us online at commonroom.io or follow us on Twitter at commonroomhq, and please leave a comment or question in the comments below if you have one. And until next time, see you soon.